Welcome to the Accelerate Your Performance podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Janet Pilcher, founder and president of Studer Education. In my last episode, I told you about a virtual event called Destination High Performance that we have coming up on April 14th to 16th that incorporates executive panels, mini masterclasses, and presentations. As a reminder, this event is a K-12 leadership conference focused on building a strong organizational culture and engaging in clear strategy work to drive meaningful, measurable results. To register for this event or to find out more details, visit our website at studereducation.com/events. I've been excited about sharing our new 9 pillars of leadership excellence, and we'll be focusing on these pillars at the Destination High Performance event. My Studer Education colleagues and I, along with some of our Studer Education partners, will be discussing these pillars and their impact on advancing leadership skills and workplace culture. At this event, Dr. KK Owen, one of our leader coaches at Studer Education, will be facilitating a mini masterclass on Pillar 4, Recognize the Bright Spots. The mini masterclass is titled People First in Practice, the Communication and Recognition Advantage. KK is the perfect person to present this topic because she naturally knows how to connect with people, see the bright spots, and make people feel valued and appreciated. KK's passion is in helping organizations get better at getting better. She focuses on sharing what her partners around the country are doing and the amazing results they're getting. Her mission is to spread better practices and spark creative inquiry among leaders to set them up on a continuous improvement journey. KK has loved every position she has ever held in education: teacher, principal, director, and now leadership coach. Along the path to her current role, KK has worked with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation on reforming teacher evaluations and has worked with union organizations such as Teachers Union Reform Network to think through how leaders, teachers, and employees can listen to each other and bring our best selves to solving our problems in education. I'm pleased to have KK on the show today. I'm excited for you to listen to her share her experiences with Pillar 4 in action. It's with great pleasure that I welcome Dr. KK Owen to our show today, one of our great leader coaches who I've had the pleasure of working with for a really long time. KK, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and start talking about the content that you'll be presenting at one of our mini master classes at our virtual conference, really focusing on communication and recognition and how that connects to people first. So let's start with this question, KK. What does it mean for a leader to have a people first mindset, and what is the value of that kind of mindset?
I think as leaders, we must recognize that our people are not only our most expensive asset, they're our most valuable asset, that our best chance of success is through our people. We are not always in the work. They are always in the work, and we are supporting them and leading the work. So for them to be successful, one of the things that we have to do as leaders to build that people first mindset is understand the importance of paying ridiculous attention to our people. We tend to pay attention to the results. If we're paying attention to the people, that leads to the results. And what does that ridiculous attention include? Really, it's two things: that people feel valued and they know the value that they bring to the organization. Those are two really important pieces, and we need to have that piece first before we can build out a people first mindset. We have to know the value of it.
Yeah. And I love that, and I think that those two pieces, KK, what you talked about, that people need to know they're valued and that they bring value to the organization. I mean, when we intentionally think about the way that we craft our words so that we get to that outcome, just makes a world of difference. So talk a little bit then about if we know that that's what we need for a people first mindset, how can a leader build that and build that culture that sets the stage? What are some of the tactical pieces that we could apply?
I think once you sort of have that idea about why you want to build a people first mindset and culture, you kind of have to build a system of it and understand both sides of the system. One side of the system is what do we get as the organization and as leaders? When we build that people first mindset and culture, we get higher attendance, better results, more productivity, retention, stability across our employee base, and of course, the results that we're after. And these benefits matter to us as leaders and to our organization. So it is in our best interest as leaders leading an organization to do some tactics that cause those things to occur. Tactics like measuring employee sentiment, or what are people's perceptions about the place that they come to work every day? And then more importantly than just measuring it, taking action based on their input to improve our workplace environment and the work that they're doing in their eyes so that you are meeting their why. Things like gratitude and recognition specifically tied to something that matters, building in a system of one-on-one, non-evaluative conversations like rounding, taking those survey results if you have them, and if you don't, measure them, and then take those results, share them transparently with people, get their input, and pick one or two things to work on. All of those tactics are not hard to do. They just take intentionality and building a system around when am I going to do it and how am I going to make sure I meet everyone's needs.
Yeah. And I really like the focus on the system. I mean, there are tactical things we can do, but we're really integrating that into a systematic approach. And we see the consistency across leaders when we do that. I like that. I like that focused attention there, KK, because we can have one-offs, but we really get maximum outcomes when we have that systematic approach.
Yeah, and you said something else. Like sometimes we get a pocket or a one-off. It really can't be like that. And
Mhm.
once we start rounding, we really can't stop. Once we start sharing sentiment data with employees and getting their input, we really can't stop doing that. It comes to matter so much to them that we have to keep going. That's why it's important to build a system that's doable
Mhm.
and sustainable.
Yeah, so good. So, as you're thinking about building that system, I know you work with a number of partner organizations throughout the country. Can you think of one who's done this well, built that people first culture really well, and talk a little bit about what they do?
I have several partners who have really hardwired this
Mhm.
work. They've done the work in remarkable ways to build a people first culture. Burton comes to mind when I think about who is one of the most systematic partners that I have in doing this work. They've really hardwired some of the most important people first tactics like rounding, like results rollout, those people connections, and they do that in several ways. One of my favorite ways that they do that is they are very intentional about these people connection communications. People can expect to get rounding summaries from their leader twice a year across the organization. They can expect pulse checks along the way. Once data is rolled out about employees' view of their environment and leaders say, I'm going to take this action, employees know they're going to get a check-in. Leaders are going to ask them how they're doing. They also, as a result of this work, have experienced leader stability. They
Yeah.
have a great leader succession plan in place. Their leaders are not going anywhere. They're very stable across the organization. And because of that, you get high retention, good results, and steady leadership. There's not a lot of wavering in their leadership. Finally, I would say their system, which their superintendent, David Scheimer, built out, is very transparent across their organization. Every leader can see everyone else's scorecard, stoplight report, rounding summaries twice a year. They've built a really nice portal that functions well and in some ways holds all leaders accountable to doing the work that's expected to get the people first culture across every department and every school.
Yeah. Gosh, KK, and I think years ago, when we connected, I mean, Burton, you and I had an initial connection with them a long time ago, and just watching the superintendent David Scheimer, just really take that district to a top level and systematically approach the work. It's a system, but he's got the people focused mindset as he develops that system. What a great example! And I know that was probably a hard question for you because you could choose so many of your partners, fairly long-standing partners that you've had, but just appreciate you highlighting that systematic approach that Burton has done with the leadership of David Scheimer. Good work, David, if you're out there listening. Uh,
Yeah, he has done
he
good
had.
work. And like you said, many of the leaders have. I think his system is just so stable and
Mhm.
hardwired. That's what makes Burton a good example.
Yeah, it sure does. It does indeed. So let's close today. And as I said, you've been doing this work for quite a while, and you have good interactions with the leaders that you serve each and every day. As you think about what you've learned and where you are, what advice do you have for leaders to build that people first mindset and culture?
I think people need to know that they're valued and they bring value. And that's where a leader has to start. If they want a people first mindset and culture, that's their first understanding. And then understand the connection between building that culture and a leader's intentional tactics, leader practices, leader habits. And they have to be habits. It has to be ongoing. Once they understand why those matter so much, that's how you get results, retention, and people having that feeling that they're connected to the organization. Once you're there, it's hard to think about work without a people first mindset if you truly understand what's behind it. So once you're there, then I would advise just start where you are. Pick something and start doing it. Explain to your people why you're changing your leader behavior. That's important. So introduce rounding. Talk about how it's non-evaluative, what the purpose is, and then just begin those one-on-one connections. Maybe you start with a leader practice of intentional recognition and gratitude. 3 thank you notes a week, 5 shout outs at every meeting that you have with your team, 1 connect to purpose story at each of your improvement meetings. I think just pick something that you can do and start doing it and build from there. And I would also advise people to always be transparent, always focus on transparency, share results, share employee experience data. Make sure you are listening to people, gathering input. And if you pick any of these places to start, your people will notice, they will appreciate it. You will start to see their attitudes change, and they're noticing that their leader is doing something really important to make sure they feel valued and that they understand that they bring value. So I'd say just start.
Yeah. And you gave some great places for them to start, KK. And I love that. Start with one thing to do. One thing leads to another. It builds, it's contagious, and that feeling becomes contagious. And you see people really beginning to engage with one another in a meaningful way where they are trying to do the best that they can and be their best in order to help the organization as a whole. And you do that with so many partners so well. Great advice from you as we close today. Thank you so much for being on our show today, KK.
Thank you. I enjoyed it very much.
Just start. What great advice from KK. When leaders just start recognizing people, when they just start helping people see their value, when they just start putting people first, and when they just start becoming intentional with their communication and behaviors, the culture of the organization changes in positive ways. It's like we always teach at Studer Education. Leaders go first. Watch people follow your example when you begin recognizing the good work of others and become intentional with your communication. People will become more intentional themselves, and they will begin recognizing and valuing others more and more. This is when you see people shining lights on bright spots and transferring these bright spots to other places in the organization. Together, we can grow the bright spots. Thank you, KK, for sharing your experiences and expertise and how we can establish a people-first mindset. And thank you for living this mindset in our organization and in our partner organizations. And to each of you, thank you for being invested in becoming a leader that lives a people-first mindset. This week, be intentional with your communication and your behavior. Shine your light bright. Look for the bright spots around you and shine lights on those spots. Then, watch the light grow. You make a difference. Have a great week, everyone.